Member Jeffries?
I'm good.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
I have a few comments,
Oh, okay.
if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Ms. Alexander, I appreciate you submitting this petition. I really do. It's given this board a lot to think about. I think that there's some gold in it, a little bit of it. I disagree with some things, though, that I want to talk about. And I've received more comments from this, I think, than any other rule that we've tried to pass so far. And if I were to count them, which I haven't, it would probably come up 50-50 pro and against, but the overwhelming number of election officials that have reached out to me have been opposed to this. And I, for one, greatly appreciate the comments made by the election officials, because they're the ones that have to run this election on a day-to-day basis and have to staff those facilities and hire those poll workers. And so I appreciate their comments, and they're the ones that have to deal with whatever rules we put into place. There are several things that concern me about this. Number one, I do think it's too close to the election. I do. I think that it's too late to train a lot of poll workers that have already started their training processes, and to go back and have to retrain them on something like this. I think there's a lack of resources in many counties to effectuate this rule, and the cost we hadn't discussed about the extra workers, the time for that, just hiring extra workers to do something like this if it's necessary. I think there's significant chain of custody issues, because now you're talking about if you wait till the second day to try and count these things, well, then you're putting them in a box, taking them someplace else, taking them out of a box, you're counting them, you're putting them back in a box. It's just a lot of chain of custody issues that I have concern over. But most importantly, I believe that this is not supported at all in statute. This body, this board is an administrative body. It's not a legislative body. If the legislature had wanted this, they would have put it in statute. It's not in statute. You can't read any place in statute where this is. This board is not here to make law. We're here to interpret law, and I don't see any place in statute where we're interpreting the hand counting of ballots after they come out of the machine. And therefore, I don't know if you're clapping for me or Waffle House, but that's okay. But it's just not supported in statute. We have received guidance from the Secretary of State and from the Attorney General's office that say it's not supported in statute. If this board votes to implement this rule, I think that we put ourselves in legal jeopardy by taking this rule. I think that the more appropriate course of action for this board would be to send a proposal to the legislature. If we believe in this, then let's send a proposal to the legislature and ask them to enact this. You know, let's let the legislature do their job. We don't need to do the job for them. That would be my comments on this. We know the legislature is not shy of passing laws, whether you like them or not. But you know, they need to do their job. So this board needs to take seriously the guidance that we've received from the Attorney General, from the Secretary of State's office, and from the election professionals across this state that have opined on this particular rule. For that reason, I will oppose this. Like I said, I don't disagree with what you're trying to do. The mechanics of it bother me significantly, especially when it comes to statute. I will always follow the legislature on these types of issues.
What about HAVA? Do you agree that you should be compliant with HAVA and the other federal laws?
Well, I am going to pass the buck to the legislature on all of this. So, are there any other comments from the board?
Point further.